Hello everyone, welcome back to Shonky Lab, the show where we can talk about anything, any topic you want. My name is Elton, and this week I'm joined by Mr. Lee.
Hello.
And Dave.
Hello.
There we go. Full house, as I like to call it. Am I getting some feedback? No, I'm not. Should be alright. Right, okay, so what we're here to talk about this week, we're here to talk about before the internet. We're all around before the internet, weren't we?
We were.
Alas, we were.
Yeah, I remember back in my day. Yeah,
Yeah, I feel it's going to be an hour and a half of just reminiscing. But That's what everyone wanted. It was down to a vote. It was either that or going to the cinema. I'm sure we could have all had cinema stories.
Oh, not just going to the cinema, just buggering off to the cinema.
Oh, no, not...
Shit.
I could have put that out. That would have worked at some point.
Okay, fair enough. Sorry, carry on, Elton.
No, it's fine. Yes, so before the internet, I have got a subtopic of what foods do you warm up? Strangely and bizarrely. And I'm also, this episode, for the people in the chat and also for the people, if anyone wants to Skype, which you can, you're more than welcome to. It's eltonmcmanus on the Skype, and I'll add you to the call. I'm giving away buildings as well.
What?
So if you want a building, it's yours. You just have to put it in the chat room or phone up for that.
Can I put it forward that I'd like the gherkin, please?
Would you like the gherkin already?
Well, you know, if you're giving away... Is this some model thing?
No, I'm giving away the real gherkin, so you can go up to the gherkin and... No, I am the king of the gherkin.
I've heard that before.
He's all about the gherkin. He loves it.
I love me a gherkin.
Right, so the gherkin is yours. Well done. If I had a sheet of paper, I'd actually write it down.
Oh, for goodness sake.
Maybe later on I will.
Oh, dear.
Cool. Excellent. That's a really good start already.
We're off to a flyer.
Yeah.
I'd like this delivered. I'd like it wrapped up as well.
Oh, no. It stays where it is. You can just enter it anytime you want. You have the keys to it.
Okay.
You wait until we do the solar system. I'm giving away planetary bodies in that episode.
Pete. No, sorry, Pete. Who the fuck's Pete? Who am I talking? I'm cold. Chris Johnson's in the chat, and he's just said, "I want Blackpool Tower."
He can have Blackpool Tower, sir. Blackpool Tower is yours.
Fantastic.
There we go, Dave. Would you like anything while I'm giving it away?
Oh wow. I like Buckingham Palace. Think big.
Yeah.
It's ideally located for work.
Why? Where do you work? Buckingham Palace.
I work within walking distance of Buckingham Palace.
Right. Glenn Southern has just said, "I want the Tower of London."
There we go. It is his.
It's yours, Glenn. There you go.
Next time you're there, you can knock on the door and say, "No, I own this. It's fine. I can go in." And then you can just, if any of the guards want to question it, just send them here to the Shonky Lab.
He said, "Awesome." We will be probably seeing him on the news very shortly, I imagine.
Oh dear. I am taking the Black Heath Tea Hut for starters for me.
What is it about the Blackheath Tea Hut that's so attractive to you?
Well, I'm going for that, and also the plate because I'm the boss. The one in NASA where they build all the rockets.
Oh, you didn't say it was overseas as well?
Oh no, it's any building. You said gherkin. You can't take it back now.
Oh, yeah. Well, hold on. On behalf of... Well, firstly, Doreen on the chat says, "Can I get the Mitchell Library in Glasgow?" And Glenn Southern, now listening to you, says, "Can we get 2?" And I'm going to ask the same thing. Can I have 2?
No, you can't. No.
No. Balls.
No, you can't.
Yeah, he'd like the pub from The Deadliest Catch.
Oh, bloody hell.
And now he's very disappointed that you're not letting everyone have 2.
No, that's the rules.
Them's the rules.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm afraid it works like that.
Well, see, you're losing listeners already.
Oh.
Hand over a fist now, Elton.
Well, I've brought them in ever so slowly, gave away buildings, and now they're walking away after I've given away buildings.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know.
It's a fickle listenership.
Yeah, it is. Well, Glenn wants to know, can he actually sell the tower afterwards?
It's his.
Oh, it's yours. Go for it, Glenn.
If you want to sell it, you go for it.
Yeah, cool. With contents? Okay. Not telling you how to run your own podcast, Elton, but we've kind of gone off.
It's all right. We've got plenty of time. So, yeah, well, before the internet, we couldn't have had this conversation, could we?
This is true.
Yeah. Is that a good thing, though?
Some would say yes. Is it ironic that we're actually recording this on the internet with people listening to us on the internet, live on the Mixler, talking about talking about stuff that we did before the internet turned up?
Yeah. And some of us are they're all over the place, aren't they? I mean, Chris is in Blackpool. Doreen is way up north, I think, Scotland way. And then Glenn, I think, I don't know if Glenn's still over there, but I think he's in Ireland at the moment.
What globe trotting we do.
Wow, we've almost reached the Atlantic. Oh, he's in Dublin. There you go. We almost reached the Atlantic Ocean. God, amazing.
Okay, so before the internet, guys.
Yes.
Who wants to kick off anything that we did before the? Do we want to go down subtopics of the internet, or?
Well, I was going to mention sort of like with regards to what we're doing now and what a lot of us do with our spare time in terms of podcasts and stuff. Sort of before the internet, I actually sort of as a kid kind of did something similar. I mean, I don't know if any of you sort of recorded your own radio shows on tape.
Yes.
Yeah. Which is sort of the precursor to podcasting. I mean, obviously you can disseminate it unless you sort of made copies of it or whatever. But yeah, in terms of sort of like that's basically what podcasting is everybody kind of doing their own radio show on tape and putting it out there for everyone to listen to.
Certainly, yeah. Did you interview anyone on your radio station? Because I certainly did.
I didn't interview. I did occasional radio dramas using sort of like, those old key rings that used to make all the sort of gun sound effects. There was one that was like a machine gun and like a laser gun and stuff like that. Remember those?
Yes.
Yeah. I'd occasionally stage things with sort of like that being sort of like the background noises and battles going on and stuff like that.
Oh dear.
It's a very radiophonic workshop.
I so wish I still had my tapes. There was, I interviewed Dracula and Gary Lineker on the same episode.
Did Dracula and Gary Lineker sound the same?
Slightly, yes. Yeah. My dad had a little.
Were they on like the sofa together, like an episode of Parkinson?
Oh no! It was one would walk in, and then I'd have a little chat with him, and he'd walk out, and then Gary Lineker came on.
Theatre of the mind, mate. Theatre of the mind.
Oh, but my friend actually walked out the room and then walked back in.
Oh, because
he did actually physically leave the room and come back in there. He was method.
Very method, yes.
Made your own Foley. Brilliant. Oh, man.
I recorded over one of my dad's Led Zeppelin tapes as well on that.
Oh!
Yeah.
That went down well.
I can't remember what one it might have been Physical Graffiti, but
well, not so bad then.
Not too bad, but still Zepp.
Oh dear.
But it was a case of putting in the little bits of blue tack into the cut-out holes on the cassette.
Oh yeah. Oh man. I mean, you were talking about recording stuff. I mean, Darren and I, way back in the mist of time, did a whole thing on. He still believes that we have the tape somewhere, because it's actually in his parents' house. But we clearly remember it, the pair of us. There's a sort of grey TDK with an orange label on it, and it just goes it says something like an evening with Lee and Darren or something like that. And it was basically us getting old dodgy scripts that we'd found in a book in a library from secondary school of Mel Smith and Griff Rhys-Jones head-to-head discussions.
Right.
And basically, we just recorded them because I had a stereo tape recorder with 2 microphones in it. So he'd be on one microphone and I'd be in the other. But basically, we both had to sort of be like nose to nose with this tape deck right between the two of us. And yeah, and we're trying to read the scripts and then kind of gave up on that and then just started just talking shit. And at some point, we kind of lost the plot. And there's just 20 minutes of us just going, hee hee hee, ha ha ha, oh, ha ha, oh. And it just, yeah, we thought that was brilliant.
I hope you can find the tape for that, because I do have something that could turn that into an MP3.
Oh, yeah, so do I.
Put that up on the Black Dog.
Exactly. Andy Pulaski just said in the chat, he said, and thus the Black Dog was born. Yeah, I mean, it was like sort of, was it 1982, 1983, something like that?
Right.
But it is, I imagine if we listen to it now, it's tedious, but I always remember the one joke that Darren just sat there at the very end of the tape and he just went, you know what? It goes round and round and round and round. And I went, what's that? And he went, the tape. And then the tape runs out.
Oh, classic Barnard.
Oh, yeah. See, we had the comedy chops even back then, or not. And then just making me feel old by going, wow, in 1982 I was 1. It's like, fuck off. Bloody fetus. Anyway.
See, with these recordings, more than likely that was the first time we'd ever heard our own voices, which was kind of weird at the time. Now, I don't listen to us or me back once it's out in the open. That's it, it's gone. I've forgotten all about it. But then, I think when you were recording these sort of shows, it was a case of listen to it and, oh, I sound like that, do I? Oh, that's weird. And everyone had that sort of...
When you first hear your own voice and it doesn't sound like it sounds in your head.
Yeah. It's such a bizarre state of affairs, really.
It is very odd, because it's kind of like you suddenly think, who's that? And then you realise it's yourself. And it's just like, whoa, that doesn't sound like me. Maybe the tape's running a little slow or something. Because I always seem to sound, when I listen to myself back, you always seem to sound like I was going like, hello, got me. I like someone has stuck 2 fingers up my nose. You're about to tell me I sound like I've got 2 fingers stuck up my nose, aren't you?
Anyway, the tapes. with tapes, did anyone record off the radio?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
And make you mixtapes that way?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah. And you'd always try and cut it before the DJ came in, but there'd always be, your whole mixtape would be sort of like the music going da 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 da, and then it'd be like the network chat. And the next piece of music would come in, or that was Brotherhood of Man, or something like that. Brotherhood, and the music would just go into something completely different. And Chris Johnson agrees. He says, "Oh yes, he used to record tapes." And one thing that has come up before the internet. People only had to go to cinema to see movie trailers.
Oh. Okay, right, let's skip on to movies then, really quickly.
It's come up, and Scott Matheson was saying, I used to love to go to the cinema early and have no idea what the trailers were going to be, and being surprised by them. And, on VHS rental tapes, as Andy pointed out.
Yeah,
it's a fair point.
I remember seeing trailers in the cinema, but I never went to the cinema much. It might surprise you, but as a lad, I never really went much. And so I didn't really see any trailers. When I went to see Return of the Jedi, we walked in 5 minutes late, so we missed all the stuff on the Death Star, and we just walked in. It was me and my dad, and we were walking in. Pretty much as C-3PO and R2-D2 are walking towards Jabba's palace. And then you've got a silhouette of my dad and me walking down the cinema aisle. Pretty much exactly the same as C-3PO and R2-D2. But yeah, we missed all the trailers. I don't really remember seeing the trailers. See, how we got our news of the movies and such, it was more a case of either catching it on Sky Movies, or if you was lucky, there would be a featurette on the chart show, or some other program would be showing an elongated trailer and maybe a chat with a couple of the actors in there.
Yeah.
Well, maybe, there was that show on ITV, sort of movies, games, and videos.
Oh my
That's an
God.
ITV show that used to sort of like cover. They show trailers and stuff on that.
Oh man, whiplash from just my brain's just gone back so far in time. Yeah.
And occasionally, you get to stay up late and watch like film, wherever it was with Barry Norman, and they'd show like the occasional trailer on that as well.
Oh man, I remember seeing Barry Norman finishing one of his episodes on a little clip for Ghostbusters, and it was the first one I'd seen.
Yeah,
and it was the whole thing with him with them all shooting up the trolley in the hotel, and he goes, "Oh, sorry, we thought you were someone else," and that's where it ended. It's like, oh, I want to see that. They shoot a trolley and set on fire.
There aren't even any ghosts involved. I'm in anyway. Trolley abuse.
Yeah, trolley abuse, and the lady coming out from behind going, "What the hell are you doing?"
But do you reckon that's where a bit of the love has been lost with trailers, now that they're so instant?
Yeah.
Well, I think it's part of that, and part of that because the internet can now create buzz around trailers. You can have the pre-trailer and the pre-trailer and the flick book for the pre-trailer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Use it to build, and they use it to build anticipation and buzz and stuff. And whereas sort of back then, because the trailer would only ever be seen in a movie theater or in like like on the videos and that was like the one shot you had the trailer, which is why I think in many ways they kind of got trailers more rights back then, because they only got one bite of the cherry.
Mm-hmm.
Like now, if a trailer gets a bad reception, they can recut it and do it as like the international trailer or something, or they could do sort of the red band trailer and the PG trailer. They can sort of, because they're going to get viewed online, they can actually tailor it. Whereas sort of like back then, you only got one shot to get your trailer out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And some of those trailers, when you weren't ready for them, you used to get so nervous when you were sitting in the cinema. It all went dark, and then you just hear some music, and you'd be thinking, "Hold on, what's that?" And I get really, really nervous. And I always remember they never really rated the trailers for the
Mm.
presentation. And I went to see Star Trek: Wrath of Khan, and the two trailers on the front of it were for Blade Runner and The Thing.
It's all sci-fi. It's all what the nerds like, right? Yeah, we'll sling those on the front.
Exactly. So when you're watching it, you're sitting there, you're thinking, okay, I'm going to get Star Trek, and then all of a sudden you're watching Blade Runner, and you're thinking, that looks good. I want to see some more of that. And then obviously then you're getting the disappointment of going back to Trek, which is all nice and clean and just straightforward. But it was a really good film. But then on top of that, you get a whole trailer of just music going, boom, 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 and then ending with this bald guy with a claw looking at you going, and I was just shitting my pants throughout the first 10 minutes of Wrath of Khan, but not because of the film. Sitting there as an 11-year-old watching a trailer for The Thing, that was just terrifying.
Yeah, but like Dave said, it's they got one chance, haven't they? There was no repeat viewings of it. Once you'd seen it, you'd either seen it or you'd missed it, or it wasn't aimed at you correctly, and so you wouldn't go to the cinema to see that movie.
No, I fucking wouldn't after seeing that trailer. I was like, no way.
And if you didn't actually see the movie at the cinema, then you had to wait, maybe a year before it came out on VHS?
Yeah, at least.
At least, yeah. And then you had to pre-book it at Blockbusters. pre-booking VHS tapes.
Yeah, assuming you got a Blockbuster, so didn't just sort of rent it down the local shop, which was just...
Yeah. Yeah. Going into your local spa and going, have you got this? Have you got the latest Fellini film? Yeah. No, we only have the 2 Arnold Schwarzeneggers and that picture of the lady with the big boobies. She's on roller skates. What more do you want?
Right, we got someone just joined us.
Mm?
Hey up, Marlon.
Ooh, hey up. Who's this?
You don't recognise your course from Space Jury? Who would have thought 20 years ago we'd all be around here bitching about trailers?
Ah, hello.
There's the pennies dropped, yeah.
It was on a parachute.
I got a question for you gentlemen of a slightly older persuasion.
Sure.
And VHS tapes. Because by the time I had come of age, the internet was already a nascent thing, as it were.
Fetus.
Adult movies. How did one deal with these? Were you exposed to such things prior to the internet, or what was it limited solely to print? Inquiring minds wouldn't know.
It was probably print mainly, I think.
There's a lot of awkward kind of pulling at collars, I am imagining right now.
I do remember a specific instance when sort of me and a bunch of mates would we were all about 17, 18, got hold of a magazine. We were sat in the park at night and we were deliberately reading out the readers' letters like we were 5-year-olds doing a public reading at an assembly. So deliberately reading it badly. And then I stood there with my trousers down, and she said, "Wow!" And for some reason, we just thought that was hilarious.
Yeah. Derek and Clive read the porn letters from Fiesta. Nice.
I think we've got a new segment for the Black Dog right there.
Yeah, that's actually not a bad idea. Actually,
once you find one out of shitty superheroes.
No, that won't happen.
No.
So what about you then, Elton? Before the internet, how did you get your jollies?
Well, I think it was either there were a couple of videos passed around at school, and you knew where you were in the queue for getting that video, because you'd be going, "Have you got it? Did you bring it in today?" "No, I didn't. Oh, I forgot." "Oh, nuts! I was looking forward to that."
Forgot, yeah, my arse, you forgot.
And then you go, "Have you got it?" And there'll be the holy day when he turned around and went, "Yeah, I got it. Oh, kiss it here."
For a second, the feed just dropped and it sounded like you said, "Kiss it here."
Oh no! Give us it here. Give us it here.
I just thought I'd best clear that up.
I don't know. I think it works either way. You know.
It was a naive time. Everyone was trying new things.
A simpler time, a more elegant time before the empire.
For me,
Andy's raised the intellectual level of the discussion. You know?
Yeah, I was going to say it didn't take long, was it? It's 24 minutes into this cast, and it's already on.
You were taking too long. Someone had to intervene.
Yeah,
that's what she said.
Yeah,
euphemism.
For me, my first dalliance with such things was there was an alleyway round the back of my parents' house.
I'm just going to stop you now. Anything involving alleyways, no.
It's just when he threw out the old "what the butler saw" machines.
Exactly. It wasn't far off.
Just leaves us staring at a letterbox, turning a handle round and round.
Yeah. Well, actually, it was better than that. It was a Viewmaster. I had to flick it really.
It's like they're coming at you.
Yeah, I only got 20 frames, but it was enough. No,
if you flicked it around quick enough, it was like it was moving.
Yeah, it's like click, click, click. Age of the Dinosaurs. Click, click, click. Oh, it's a steam train. Click, click, click. No.
If you flick it fast enough, it looks like she's moving.
Yeah. Oh, it's a train going in a tunnel. No, it's not. Anyway.
Did you find one of those pens that when you turn it upside down?
Yeah.
Oh, going off of that as well, you used to get the video the clubs where you used to have to buy a video, and they'd always have a couple of the risque ones there. And if you were lucky, there'll be a nice picture that you could imagine.
Well, yeah. I mean,
so what we're saying is, before the internet, we needed to use our imaginations a lot more.
Oh, a lot more.
No. I had the land of the Jawas. That's all I need to know. That's all you need to know.
Squeeze me? Baking powder?
Actually, I don't think we need more detail. I think that's possibly just... it's a quagmire we don't want to go into.
I know that book. That's a turn your page book, isn't it?
No. Basically, it was... Okay, right. Going back to the alleyway for a second, there was an alleyway where people obviously disposed of their collections.
Right.
And so they would dispose of their collections into this particular bush. And so every now and again, me and Jess would be walking back to my house from school, and you'd have to walk down this little alleyway as a shortcut. And Jack Woodgate's gone adult channel 5-minute preview.
This is so true. You were trashed. Woo!
Yeah. And basically, I walked down there, and we saw these magazines in there, and basically, I got one. Scott Matheson's going live TV, topless darts, yeah. And basically, we got these magazines, and like every week, I'd go back there, and there'd be a new one, and I started getting to the point where I had nowhere to sort of store them. And so
Did you take them back?
I took them home.
No, but did you take them back to the alley?
No.
Oh,
The alley giveth, the alley, yeah, alley giveth, alley taketh away.
It wasn't a fucking library; it was a bush. And basically, I used to collect all these Star Wars toys, and the one that I had was the Land of the Jawas, which is this huge play set. But I'd lost most of the play set because it got damaged and what have you. So I still had the box, and my parents always saw the box in my room, but they never opened the box. So I put all my porn in there that I found in this alleyway. And so Land of the Jawas became the euphemism sort of shortcut discussion between me, Darren, and Jess as to where precisely all the porn was. Or it was the Land of the Jawas.
Should have invested in one of those those old leather bound things you used to keep the TV guide in or something.
Yeah.
Leather bound magazines.
Frankly, by the end of it, that's exactly what they look like. Anyway. But the one Jack Woodgate's going Footini. But on top of that, basically, when in the dawning of Betamax video, and that sort of thing, my dad had a couple that he was borrowing off of people at work or whatever, and they were sort of stuck under his bed, and I found one, and then for some reason I just took it away, and I never got to see it, and I left it stashed under my bed. And I don't know if Dad got into trouble or whatever for not giving it back, or if it really was him or whatever, but he never said anything. And then a couple of years later, I actually managed to get myself that Betamax player that we had downstairs when they upgraded. So I'm like, I've got this tape. I can look at it. I've got fucking porn tape. I can fucking look at it. And so I one night, really dark, everyone's gone to bed. I've got this TV in my room. It's against my parents' wall. I've got my video sitting on top of the TV, and it was a big, hefty old C9 Betamax. And
Is it a top loader?
Yep. And I took the
That's
tape.
like an aircraft hangar opening up.
Well, that was the problem. I took the tape, I put it in the tape deck, slammed the lid, and I don't know, you young'uns probably won't remember, but this thing, when it started up, when you even just turned it on, it went... It just sounded like...
It was like Airwolf launching.
Yeah, exactly. It sounded like Ed 209 falling down the stairs with a copy of Drums on its back. And it's like playing Tusk by Fleetwood Mac. It just like all this sort of thing. And I'm sitting there going to the bloody tape drive. And then I pressed play, and it went, and it's doing all this thing, and it's like it's fucking 1 o'clock in the morning. Everyone's asleep, and this tape deck's sounding like a cast rendition of Stomp. And then and then on top of that, I completely forgot I hadn't turned the volume down on my TV.
Oh no!
And suddenly this 70s kind of...
That's the window cleaner.
Yeah, exactly, sort of thing started playing out. I'm like, oh no! And it's like suddenly Dad, I could hear him getting up out of bed to try and work out what the noise was. He got out of bed and he's going, dump, 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 dump. And I'm trying to turn everything off in the dark. And as I'm doing that, I'm still trying to turn everything off. I turned the telly off. He opened the door and he went, what's going on? I said, nothing. And meanwhile, the tape's still going. And he's like, what the fuck is that? And I'm like, nothing. It's the tape deck. You're like,
I'm just rewinding before I return to the rental.
exactly.
Yeah, unfortunately, Lee had to burn down his house and his parents that evening.
Yeah. So anyway, Chris Johnson said he found his uncle's copy of Animal Farm.
Oh,
I just
I don't believe you, Chris. I swear that thing was a myth.
yeah.
Everyone knew somebody at school who'd seen Animal Farm.
And also, he had the Littlewoods catalogue. That was good. Couldn't go wrong with the Littlewoods catalogue. If you really wanted to push their boat out, you'd sort of go shopping with your mum and you get her to get the catalogue for the M&S.
Never went down that alley. No.
No. There you go.
I know about the catalogue, but that was it.
I was always looking for toys in my bedroom.
I suppose it could have been worse. You could have kept it in Jabba's palace.
yeah. Why is it this catalogue always falls open on page 45? I just open it. It's like the spine's broken on page 45.
Oh dear. Andy, while we got you on,
yes.
would you like a building?
Ooh, can I have any building I want?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have a building. I'll have the vehicle assembly building in Florida.
Oh, I knew it.
You can't have that. He's Elton's already got that.
Has he?
Yeah.
I was dancing around trying to get Flash Player to work when you guys started, so I didn't hear any of the first.
I'll let you have that one. I'll tell you what. I'll go back to having one. You can have that.
Oh wait, so he's having two, is he? I mean, that seems a bit greedy, if you ask me.
What? The boss? Hello?
Oh well, all right. Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah. Okay. And are there any foods that you warm up? By the way.
What foods that you warm up?
Yeah. What foods do you warm up?
Chinese takeaways.
Ooh.
I mean, you can do it cold. Yeah, don't get me wrong, but
not the same day though.
No, not the same day. But Chinese takeaway the next morning, you heat it up. Pizza you have cold.
Oh, you're history's greatest monster. That's just wrong.
Oh, I'm with Andy on cold pizza.
Yeah.
Cold Domino's pizza. Oh, please.
Yep, morning after. Yep, absolutely.
The food of kings.
You two disgust me.
I'm afraid I discuss you as well.
I've taken porn out of a bush, and you still.
He took porn out the bush, took it home, heated it up,
stuck it in the land of the Jawas, and tried desperately to rewind a Betamax tape.
Well, I was only asking about this. What foods you warm up? Because at the weekend I had a pork pie.
Yeah.
And it was freezing. It was one of them lunch times where all the windows were open in the front room. I was sat down, I was eating that, and everything was cold. I had a cup of tea, but that was the only thing warming me up. And it crossed my mind, hang on, I've never warmed up a pork pie. And so, what's the first thing you do? You go to the internet and ask, can you warm these up? Is it frowned upon to warm these up? And the backlash of me even contemplating about warming up a pork pie was humongous. So, no, I didn't warm up.
That's another thing. That's another thing you never used to do before the internet. Ask random people in the street whether or not you could heat up a pork pie.
That's very true. I mean, it's got to be said, before the internet, I thought everyone just accepted science as fact.
Exactly.
Also, cold pizza's getting a lot of support in the chat room as well.
Oh, is it?
Absolutely. Yeah, Lee, you're on the wrong side of history here.
Look, just because I'm on the wrong side of an opinion of a bunch of people in the chat room doesn't mean to say I'm wrong.
If history's taught us anything.
Scott Matheson says takeaway curry heated the next day is like nectar of the gods.
See, anything you heat up, it's good. Warm up pancakes, as Doreen said. You warm things up, makes things instantly better. If you leave things to go cold and then eat them while they're essentially a cold jellified thing, it's just like, why don't you just eat some blue tack? I mean, it's tasteless, rubberized rubbish at that point. It's just wrong.
No, the pizza does work cold.
Domino's. I would argue Domino's pizza is best served cold.
It's a dish best served cold, is it?
Much like Revenge.
I mean, it is basically just cheese on bread. I've had that cold. I've had that hot.
Yeah, but you haven't soaked the cheese in some greasy amount of gunk and then let it solidify and then eat, have you? You either have the cheese separate to the bread sitting on top of the bread, or you melt the cheese into the bread and eat it while it's hot. Letting it go cold is the worst of both worlds.
No one's making you eat cold pizza, Lee. I just want to make this quite clear.
We might make what?
If there is like a judgment made in this room tonight, that for henceforth you're going to have to eat pizza cold, and no one's saying that.
I'm in a safe place. I'm with Fred. We're
not going to make you do it. We might make you watch us do it.
Yeah.
Doreen's just said, after Lee's blue tack comment, I'm getting rid of my chewing gum. See, the power of the media, people.
I've never tried. It would never occur to me to warm up a pork pie. It's got to be said. I mean, I get what you're saying. Sometimes you get a pork pie and it's like, a doorstop. But man up.
Well, it was just one of these things that just popped in my head. Hang on a minute, I've never had one of these warm. Because I've had people saying about Weetabix warm, and no.
Oh, that's lovely.
No. Why would you want to warm up Weetabix?
Because it goes sloppy, then you stick a bit of sugar on top, and that forms a crust.
A paste?
No, a crust on top of a hot paste.
No, I've never done the hot Weetabix. I like the shreddies and the shredded wheat, but not the Weetabix. That is a step too far, young man. That's a step too far.
Elton, no one's going to make you eat more Weetabix. No one's committing anyone to anything here.
Yeah. No one is going to stone anyone until I blow this whistle. Back on the chat, Glenn Southern's come back in saying, I vaguely remember something called Debbie Does Dallas from an early 80s VHS. I was reminded last year when my US buddy told me he had the license to make triple D figures.
No, presumably Debbie Does Dallas figures.
And any sentence which starts with "I vaguely remember" sounds awfully suspicious in that I'm far too well informed about this subject.
Yeah. I'm asking for a friend.
Yes.
and for some reason, Scott Matheson has cheese on his nan.
Pardon?
Well, I think he means his naan.
Yeah, I know. He missed out the extra A, but it says nan. So I said, has he got a nan made out of cheese?
I just melted cheese on a nan.
And he's finished that sentence with nom 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 as well. Oh, dear.
Darren Diamond to the stage. Darren Diamond to the stage. Oh, dear.
Oh, dear.
There you go. It's all kicking off in the chat room.
Just said, my stepdad's the worst for that. When he heats up Weetabix, he does it by pouring hot water over them.
Oh, that's just wrong. That's no wonder he's your stepdad. I mean, God, I wouldn't own up to it. That's just wrong.
Hot water?
That's like, again, that's the worst of both worlds. That's like tastelessness on tastelessness, but hot. You might as well just eat wallpaper paste. That's just...
One day he woke up and he was trying to make a cup of tea and Weetabix, and he accidentally poured the kettle onto the Weetabix, didn't he? That's how that was discovered.
Oh, he puts cold milk on them first. Oh, so the hot water is just to bulk it out. Oh,
so he's thinning out the milk.
Yeah, just use skim milk, which is milk lying about being milk.
Yeah, that's true.
Fake milk.
Fake
it
milk.
Is.
Filch. Hang on.
Filk? No. We're getting dangerously close to Felch, and I didn't know anything about that until the internet.
It answers all the questions you really didn't want to ask.
Anyway, there you go. Yeah,
I'll tell you something I saw in the chat earlier. Someone brought up, just going back to what the internet's good for. Do we remember Encyclopedia Britannica?
Yeah, I had one that was the size of the house in like 700 volumes.
When I was a kid, it was my goal in life to own the Encyclopedia Britannica. Evidently, that's redundant now, and I've been wandering aimlessly ever since.
In Carter. Always go in Carter.
Yeah, I was going to say in Carter. Remember
It came on a disc, didn't it?
one of my mates got his first computer and little video files of Patrick Stewart popping up and in Carter explaining how to use it and stuff.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Hello, I'm Patrick Stewart, and I'd like to show you how to use your Encarta disc. But if you don't know how to put the disc in, you're a fucking moron, and get an Encyclopedia Britannica and look up CD drives.
Encarta 95. Oh, what a year for computing 95 was, eh? God.
Yes, I
You
remember.
got all those really shitty videos from Microsoft. There was the one for the Microsoft Network, and there was a Friends one or something, wasn't there? No, it was a Happy Days one.
No, there's a Friends one with Matthew Perry and Jennifer Aniston tell you
Yeah,
how to use it.
Windows 95.
Yes.
I saw somebody post it on Twitter a while back saying it's like the most 90s artifact ever.
Phil Bellamy wants to know if you can warm up a Scotch egg.
How about no?
Oh! Suddenly that's wrong, is it? Oh dear, I don't understand you people anymore.
I don't do eggs, so no, thank you. That just makes it smell more. Why would you want that?
You've had enough. Anyway, French guy.
I was going to give it a try, so let us know if you survive.
Yeah, report back.
Yeah, from A&E. Oh dear. Oh, Martin Thompson wants to know if it's going to go runny. I think it'll just turn into concrete. Actually,
It'll just explode.
I was going to say, it could be like putting a hand grenade in a microwave.
What is he asking about? The egg or something else?
Scotch eggs.
Scotch egg.
Oh, okay.
Though, if you just read Martin Thompson's post, he goes, "Yep, Encarta 95 and Windows 95. Will it go runny?"
Drops mic, walks off.
Yeah, exactly. Chris Johnson's partner deep fries Scotch eggs. You people are all freaks. That's it. I'm leaving. I'm out of here.
There was a guy at my old company who enjoyed sausage rolls, and he used to go into sandwich making places, and the pastry sausage rolls. He'd ask for them in a roll, in a bread roll, and he'd have 2 of them.
Right.
And so he got a sausage roll. But he would devour them all the time.
Yeah, well, that's fine. There's nothing.
There's a bit more carbohydrates,
Yeah. There's nothing you can't stick between 2 slices of bread and improve things.
As anybody who's seen Batch on a Night will testify.
Just like the top list arts.
Top the starts between 2 slices of bread. Bang. Bingo. Done. Yeah. Oh God. Now.
Were there any featurettes that you remember seeing?
What? About eggs?
No, not Scotch eggs. Movies.
Oh, I always remember the making of Indiana Jones, where they had a whole thing about the stuntman, Vic. What's his name?
Vic Armstrong.
Vic Armstrong doing the whole thing underneath the car, under the lorry.
Oh, the whip thing, yeah.
Yeah, and that both amused me and ruined things for me, because they did that about doing the ditch, digging the ditch through the road, because I hadn't noticed. And then once they showed me, I couldn't unsee it. And the other one was, when the lorry supposedly holding Marion goes over on its side.
I was going to say that one. That's what I can't unsee either.
Yeah. They have actually got a telegraph pole inside the actual lorry that fires down with an air ram and knocks the whole truck over. And then as soon as they showed you it in the documentary, or the featurette rather, that was it. You cannot not see that little pole sticking out from underneath the truck.
Yeah, you can blatantly see it.
I think I have seen it. I think my memory has forgotten it over the years, and not seen that movie for years and years. But one thing does spring to mind about the things that you once you see, you cannot unsee. I think it's Superman or Superman 2. There's a car driving down the road, and they have to create a roadblock to get the missiles. I can't remember what film that is, though.
That's Superman.
Is that the first one?
Yeah.
Right, the car that flips, you can see the arm made to flip it.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it's coming down. You can see the arm. It pops up, and as it's rolling and rolling and rolling, you can still see it flapping around. And I remember we was all sat on the sofa just watching that. And go, we all just stared at it and pointed at it and went, "Look at that! That's how they did it."
Mm.
It's like that the famous car chasing Bullet, where he keeps overtaking the same Volkswagen Beetle. Just when they've cut the stock footage together of the chase, there's a green Volkswagen Beetle he overtakes about 4 times.
Sweet.
If anyone's got a VHS player that we could borrow, I have an original rental VHS copy of Star Wars, or the Star Wars, as it were. And it had the old Lucasfilm logo, like the neon greeny one sort of thing. Oh, yeah. And I remember that had a promo or something on the end of it about making Star Wars. But I've not watched that since probably the early 90s, if that.
Early 90s. See? Just make it sound like a million years ago. Oh, back in the 90s. Back in the 90s? I was in my bloody 20s.
Now's not a good time to point out that was like 30 years ago, is it?
Shut up.
No, don't go down that road, Christ. Dave, was there any featurettes that you remember?
I remember there was. I had Rear Window, and there was an entire documentary at the end of Rear Window about the making of the film, which is actually really interesting. To the point where apparently that Hitchcock had scouted around loads of places to try and find like the right group of flats to shoot this in. You know, and he couldn't find anywhere that he liked, so he convinced the studio to let him build an entire set of working flats in the studio. They actually like took out the floor of the studio. The basement was like the ground floor, and so and all the flats worked. They had full plumbing, they had full electrics and everything, and yeah, it just gave him complete control of his set.
Wow.
So and like Hitchcock was probably about the only director with that kind of pull at the time, that he could just sort of turn around and say, "I can't find the location I like, build it for me."
Nice.
That's cool.
That is cool.
I'll tell you something. I do remember when Independence Day came out, and there was a lot of promos around that. You know, it was supposed to be a real thing, and there was a video promo showing how they did the effects blowing up the cities, blowing the fire up the wall. But there was something else which I remember, and I actually found this a video link to this. Radio 1 did a radio play about the Independence Day invasion in the UK, featuring Patrick Moore.
Yeah, the Games Master.
Was the Games Master. Yes,
it's not the Games Master. Don't just.
Oh God, that takes me. You guys remember like video blasts in the 90s?
Oh yeah.
Oh God.
No, we'll do video games next episode.
Yeah. But I mean, like video blast. I mean, it wasn't just on video games. I know they did it on Fist of Fun as well with Lee and Herring. There'd be like a whole load of extra gags. Usually slacking off Patrick Marber for some reason. They just really didn't like Patrick Marber. And there would be loads and loads of gags in the video blast at the end of each episode, which if you paused it, we're all just taking the piss out of Patrick Marber.
I've just put it in the mix of the chat. The Independence Day UK play. So there you go, including a scene where I think Patrick Moore ends up stealing a fighter jet.
Excellent.
I'm not even joking. It happened.
Well, I do know one film that wouldn't have survived without the internet.
Go on.
Blair Witch.
Oh, man.
That's very true.
Yeah,
because that was on the very cusp. I was popped around my sister-in-law's house, and they had just started getting up the internet. They always want to be up there with all the new technology that came out, and they had the internet. And there was this buzz about this film coming out, and people weren't too sure whether it was true or not, whether this found footage was found underneath the foundations of the building, and it was all very creepy. And because the internet was new, there was no other way of talking to other people about it. It was just the information you got was the truth, and people considered it the truth because it was on the internet, and this internet was shiny and new, and nobody had damaged it just yet.
Everything on the internet must be true. Yes.
Yeah, but there's no Wikipedia. Was there IMDb in '95?
Whoa.
No.
To the internet to answer our question.
Well,
But then that's an early example of sort of what we now know as sort of viral marketing, I suppose.
yeah.
I was going to say Blair Witch was a lot later than I thought it was. 99. I would have pegged that like 94. But,
I thought it was 95.
No, it was 99 because
Ah.
I remember getting pulled in by that hook, line, and sinker when it first came out, because it came out and I used to go onto some paranormal website and sort of like just have a little scoot through, and it was like a little link, almost like creepypasta, and it was like, oh, I'll have a look at that. And there's lots of shots of mug shots of have you seen these people, and that was it.
That's right, yeah.
And it was just like, oh, that's interesting. And then then there was lots of stuff about the tapes that were found, and it was like, oh god, yeah. 1994 was the year they were supposed to have gone missing, according to Martin.
Oh, okay.
that might explain that then.
But
Still never seen all of Blair Witch.
yeah,
I watched the first 10 minutes and I was just like, wow, these guys are wankers. I'm glad something bad's going to happen to them. They were just doing my head in.
Well, I mean, at risk of repeating myself, the thing that killed Blair Witch for me was after watching it the first time and like being, oh, that's really scary, because things that you don't see always scare me rather than things you do.
Yeah.
I took it to show my dad because I know he goes in for the true life crime stuff.
Right.
And by this point, I knew what it was all about, but I had it on like a dodgy copy on tape, and I thought, well, I'll show Dad because it'll, even if it's dodgy, that actually adds to it. And I showed it to him, and after about 2 minutes, he went, "Why haven't they got mobile phones?" I'm like, "I don't know." He goes, "And why don't they just follow the sun?" And I'm like, I don't know. And he goes, "And if I was running from something, I wouldn't be carrying a 20-pound camera on my shoulder. I'd throw that fucking thing in the bush." I'm like, Dad, no, Dad, this is real. And he goes, no, fucking, look at the state of that. Look, just keep going straight, you silly bastard. He just sat there heckling it for an hour and a half. And I'm like, I'll just turn this off, Dad, shall I? And he goes, yeah, I bet they fucking end up dead and all. Oh, this is bollocks.
Oh dear.
My dad's not one for fantasy or horror of any kind. He just kind of just sits there and goes, "That's bollocks," and then just proceeds to tear it apart. Usually while he's watching it.
Blimey.
See, my dad's a nightmare to watch films with because especially like something like comedies, because he'll say the funny line 2 seconds before the line comes on.
Mm.
That's ruined the timing of the gag. Watching Young Frankenstein with that man was a fucking nightmare.
Mm.
Like, yeah, I'm trying to like. When they're on the car,
Mm.
and the howling, and like my dad's just like werewolf. Then Marty Feldman sort of says it. He's like, "What? No, shut up!"
I take both of those over what I've got stuck with. My dad thinks films like The Core are good. That's a mic drop right there.
You should just give him a ticket to go to the cinema with Elton. They can both sit there and watch G.I. Joe 3.
Uh-huh. When that comes out, I'm there. Don't worry.
Yeah, he'll take over. You'll lose a father, but gain a stepbrother.
No, I'm down with that. As long as I have to go watch it.
There'll be high-fiving and everything all the way through that movie.
Yeah, nice. Oh well.
Just a shame that Roadblock doesn't rhyme his words. What a bastard. He should rhyme. Roadblock should rhyme. But you don't care about this, do you? You don't care about that.
I couldn't give less of a shit if I tried.
And he's really trying.
Yeah,
I was going to say, it's ironic because he's sat on the toilet right now.
in my onesie. With a copy of the Land of the Jawas sat at my desk.
I swear there's a book of Land of the Jawas as well. I swear there is not a choose your own adventure. You know the books where you had to turn the page, where you hear R2D2 beep like this.
Yeah,
it's one of them. Right, I'm googling Land of the Jawas.
Well, we've only got 5 minutes left.
Yep.
On the old Mixler.
I had a Tron book like that. It came with like a little single.
Oh right.
It was on vinyl. I read the story out of that. I was obsessed with that. I'd seen Tron, like the film, on VHS on Betamax. My dad had rented it. And that was the reason I wanted to be a computer programmer at age 6. because I thought it was like Tron.
You were going to get digitized and sucked into the.
Well, I thought computer programming involved in just sort of politely asking the computer to do stuff. Would you please open this program?
Like war games.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I was 6.
No, I'm there with you. I wanted a modem like war games.
Oh yes, when you stuck the phone in the like the head of the phone in that sort of dial-up thing. So you had to stick the phone receiver into that big kind of socket thing to actually use anything online.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really. It's really taking me back. The pictures that are being put on the chat for Land of the Jawas.
Hands where we can see them. Hands where we can see them.
But that was it. It was just a plastic lump. Before I got to it, and there was a piece of cardboard which looked like a Jawa sandcrawler, and then the was it escape pod, and it was the only way you could get the escape pod, which was basically just a plastic cup with a lid on it. But for something so small and insignificant, the box was huge. So wankadoodle. That's what it was.
Wankadoodle. Okay, right. I'm going to leave it there. Let's end on that note.
There.
Yeah, previously on Shonky Wankadoodle. That's Wankadoodle. That's number wang.
Right. Right, we'll leave it there for now. We'll be back in about 15 or so minutes after drinks and refreshments are passed around the room.
Yes.
I think we should come back and maybe finish off a bit of music before the internet and video games.
Oh, yes.
Television.
BBC Micros, Sinclair Spectrums.
Television as well.
Yeah, television.
And we're still asking what foods do you warm up? And we are still giving away buildings. So if you want to let the people in the chat room know about that, that'll be absolutely grand. And I suppose we'll be back very soon. Do you want to plug your stuff, just in case is a first half of a two-parter?
Yeah, you can hear me and Andy on Space Doc Jury, which is spacedoc.geekplanetonline.com, and on iTunes, and you can also hear me and this other geezer called Elton, and Darren and Jim on the Black Dog Podcast, which is blackdog.geekplanetonline.com, and on iTunes, and all on the Facebooks and everything. And listen, everyone who listens to this listens to those, so they fucking know where I am anyway. I'm going to go eat my warmed up pizza.
And Mr. Probert, what would you like to plug?
You can hear me on Tangential Deviation, which is my podcast on geekplanetonline.com, which is a sort of essentially a rambling chat show. And you can also hear me on Twice as Bright, Half as Long, which is a show I do with Ian Wilson, where we revisit shows that lasted no longer than 2 seasons.
There we go. Okay, so guys, we'll be back in 15 minutes?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, okay. Keep in the chat room, and we'll see you very, very soon. See ya.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
See ya.